Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are jumping into a really big topic. How do you actually govern the AI that's making more and more decisions about something as personal as our employee benefits? Look, AI has this incredible potential, right? It could make benefits management way more efficient, way more standardized. But, and this is a big but, it also brings some major risks if you don't handle it just right. So the real question we've got to ask is, how do you actually trust it? And this slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? It's like AI has two faces. On one hand, you've got the promise, all this great efficiency, saving money, making things consistent. But on the other hand, there's the peril. Without the right controls, it can just become this risky, opaque black box. And that can lead to some seriously unfair outcomes and a whole world of compliance nightmares. So, the million-dollar question is, how do you get all that promise without the peril? Well, that's what this explainer's all about. We're going to walk through a really powerful three-pillar framework that's designed to build that trust and keep you in control of your AI. We'll start with the risks, then dive into the three pillars: guardrails, real choices, and true ownership, and wrap up with key takeaways. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so here's the thing. The answer isn't to just run away from AI. No way. The solution is to move from making these ad hoc, maybe inconsistent decisions to a structured, reliable system. And that system, it's built on these three core ideas, what we're calling the three pillars of trust. So what are they? It's pretty straightforward. First, you've got to establish some guardrails. Think of these as your safety net. Second, you have to design for real choices so people can make smart, ethical decisions. And third, you need to ensure true ownership so you know exactly who is accountable. Guardrails, real choices, true ownership. That's the framework. All right, let's dig into that first pillar, AI guardrails. I love this analogy. Think of your AI system as a super powerful engine, maybe like a race car. The guardrails, well, they're literally the guardrails on the track. They're what keep that powerful engine safely on the road and pointed exactly where you want it to go. Now, what's really important to understand here is that these guardrails aren't just, nice suggestions or some vague guidelines. Not at all. These are predefined, hard-coded rules and constraints. They kick in automatically when certain things happen, and that's what makes the whole system's decisions predictable, compliant, and, critically, auditable. And we're not talking about abstract theory here. These are super practical things. You could have policy-based rules, like, say, a regulatory minimum that the AI is physically programmed never to go below. Or you could have thresholds and triggers, maybe a sudden cost spike that automatically sends up a red flag and notifies a specific person. It's all about having clear escalation paths. So I want to be crystal clear on this point. Guardrails, they are absolutely non-negotiable. They are the bedrock, the foundation for building any AI that you can actually trust. Okay, so we've got our guardrails in place to keep things safe. But what about the decisions the system is helping us make within those guardrails? That brings us right to pillar number 2, making sure we have real choices, and not just the illusion of choice. And this is where things can get a little sneaky. You have to watch out for something called a false choice mechanism. It's this subtle but pretty dangerous trap where a system pretends to give you real options, but it's actually designed to bias you, to kind of nudge you toward one specific outcome. It creates this illusion that you're in control. But you can learn how to spot these. A classic sign? The system gives you, say, 3 options, but one is obviously the right one, and the other 2 are just terrible decoys. Another big red flag is when it frames a really complex decision as a simple either-or, like you have to choose either saving money or keeping employees happy. It totally obscures the fact that maybe, just maybe, you could do both. So what we want are systems that do the exact opposite. A properly governed AI should present you with genuinely viable alternatives. And this is the most important part, it has to make the trade-offs explicit and quantify them. It should literally tell you, hey, option A will save you X dollars, but here's the catch. It could impact employee satisfaction by Y%. See? Now you have the power to make a real, informed, and accountable decision. Okay, so we have our safety guardrails. We have a system designed to give us real, honest choices. But there's still one huge piece missing, isn't there? Who's actually responsible for the final call? That brings us to our third and final pillar, true ownership. In this quote here, sponsorship is anchored in investment, ownership. Man, that just hits the nail on the head. We've all seen it, right?
Sponsorship can't just be a name on a PowerPoint slide or some symbolic title. It has to be real. It has to be anchored in actual investment and true ownership.
So what does that look like in the real world? Well, it's pretty concrete. It means there is a named executive sponsor for the AI project. That person is on the hook for defined KPIs, things like cost, compliance, and satisfaction. And here's the kicker. They also have real authority. They control the budget, they control the resources. That's how you avoid that paper sponsorship problem and make sure someone is genuinely accountable for the outcome. All right, let's tie all of this together now. Let's look at the huge difference this framework makes, moving from that old ad hoc way of doing things to a new transparent system.
I mean, just look at the difference. The old way, it's opaque. It depends on which person happens to be looking at it that day. The new, governed way, it's rule-based and totally transparent. The old way's choices could be biased. The new way, you're making decisions based on real, explicit trade-offs. And sponsorship goes from just being a name on paper to true ownership and accountability. It's a total transformation.
So, if you're gonna remember 3 things from this, let it be these. 1. Guardrails are non-negotiable for safety, period. 2. You have to stamp out those false choices. It's absolutely critical for ethical governance. And 3. Sponsorship must equal real ownership and accountability. No more paper tigers.
And hey, this isn't just a bunch of high-level theory. You can actually start doing this right now. Here are your next steps. First, define and write down what your guardrail types are. Then, map out your current decision points and figure out where AI already plays a role. And finally, just pick one process and prototype an end-to-end flow using all 3 pillars. You can get started today. So, in the end, it all comes down to this question. Is your AI a trusted, transparent partner, or is it still just a risky black box? This framework gives you the tools to make darn sure it's the partner you can trust.
Thanks for watching.